The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, I have a very special author to share a book with you all called Prayers for Oppa. No matter what religion we are, we all have prayers, and this gives some great examples. And my guest is Teresa Santosky.
Yes, very good.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Could you tell us, what is Oppa?
Well, Oppa is a word that appears in a lot of different languages. In this case, Oppa is a Korean word, and it's a word that is used by women to refer to an older man with whom they have a close relationship, like a brother or a boyfriend. And it's also a reference to the focus that the book has on the East Asian entertainment industry, because female fans of Korean pop music or K-pop will often refer to their favorite male performer as Oppa. And the span of the book definitely goes beyond the East Asian entertainment industry. The topics that it covers are very universal, but I thought that Prayers for Oppa was a very catchy title, and I really like the closeness of relationship that it implies.
Great. Now, most of these prayers, it's a devotional for performers and their fans.
That's correct.
So from K-pop to J-pop, and I guess the first question that would come to people are, we all pray for something at some point in our lives.
Absolutely.
But why prayers for those who seemingly have it all? What do they need our prayers for?
Well, I worked in print journalism for a number of years, actually at the Telegraph newspaper here in Nashua, and the position that I ended my time in print journalism with was that of arts and entertainment reporter. And the more people I spoke to in that field, the more you realize that people are people wherever you go. Mm-hmm. And everybody has those same concerns about their health, being with their family, being successful in what they've chosen to pursue as a career. And since performers, fans are willing to support them in so many other ways, from buying concert tickets to running websites that are dedicated to these performers, it just seemed like what a wonderful concept for fans to pray for them as well. You know, just as you would pray for a parent or a sibling or a coworker and the problems that they're having in their lives, why not also support performers like that as well?
Absolutely, because performers are looked at through a microscope.
Absolutely.
And you always hear about criticism of anything that they might do wrong because
Very true.
audiences are looking to them for models, role models to follow
Right.
or aspire to. So if a fan sent them a prayer or something more uplifting, do you think that impacts their day?
I do. With the prevalence of social media these days, performers are able to share more information with their fans, but that also opens them up to a lot more criticism and negativity. So, one of the things that I advocate with Prayers for Oppa is using social media as a prayer tool. So instead of just tweeting to a performer about, I really liked your last movie, or I really don't like your hairstyle, you can also tweet, I'm praying that God will keep you healthy, and tweet them a Bible verse that would be encouraging to them. And this is something that I practice myself on a regular basis. And most of the performers that I've done this for have reached out back to me to say thank you for that support and encouragement.
Oh, that's great. And each section of the book goes through different highlights or experiences that not only performers, but anybody could be feeling, like
Right.
loneliness and image.
Definitely. The topics are very universal, and I've had readers tell me that it's not only been helpful for praying for performers, but also for praying for themselves and their families and their friends.
Well, when I read through your book, I have to say I found it so encouraging because there's so many
Wonderful.
wonderful Bible verses that you chose.
Thank you.
But with that, you also give a little description of how to pray. I think when young people are looking at different religions or they're questioning their faith or if God even exists, they often are looking for ways to learn how to pray. So even for
That's
themselves, I found that your chapters on image and fatigue and humility just really would help young people everywhere, but
Thanks.
not even from a religious point of view, but almost a storybook way of, asking for help from a higher source and helping them just find direction. And also your section on gossip and rumors. What was your insight on doing that chapter?
Well, the entertainment industry here in the United States is very hypervigilant in regards to performers' actions and behavior, but it pales in comparison to the vigilance in the East Asian entertainment industry.
How is it different?
Well, let's see. Here in the United States, it's not necessarily a big deal if, for example, Justin Bieber, when he started dating Selena Gomez, it was heartbreaking for some fans, but that news alone didn't really damage either of their careers. I believe they actually became more popular as a result. But in the Korean entertainment industry, there's a lot of emphasis put on the availability of performers. So if it comes out that a performer is dating or was even seen in public with another celebrity of the opposite sex, that can become a huge scandal and really have an impact on their career. So the gossip and rumors chapter was inspired by the fact that not only can the media be very vigilant about what performers are doing and who they're seeing, but also that sometimes things can be taken out of context. And when that happens, all a performer can really do is continue to state the truth, state their position, and trust God to take care of the rest, that it will eventually come out that, the person I was in public with wasn't my girlfriend, it really was my cousin. I'm not trying to cover something up.
Wow. Now, how did you form your frame of reference? Did you do a lot of research? Do you know people from Korea? Have you been to Korea? How did you formulate the give and take of both?
Well, let's see. It's definitely been a mix of real life experience from my journalism career, as well as a lot of research into especially the East Asian entertainment industry. Since that is an area of personal interest for me, I watch a lot of interviews, a lot of behind the scenes footage, and the same concepts come up over and over again. Performers say they're lonely because they're traveling and they don't get to see their families. They say that they're really tired because their schedules are busy. And sometimes, it's more something that makes sense based on the career that they're in. Most performers aren't going to acknowledge that they have an issue with humility, but if you're in the public eye and you're very successful, it follows that humility might be a struggle for you.
That's true. What about difficulty getting work? How does that impact a performer over the average person looking for a job? Is there a big difference?
Well, as I had mentioned, sometimes a scandal can make it very difficult for a performer to get work because public opinion of them is very low, and it may be low without a solid reason. And also, popularity tends to fluctuate. So a performer who's very in demand right now might not be in demand a year from now. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, they can't exactly go out and get a job at, a local restaurant or things like that, because the level of popularity that they had kind of makes that difficult. So I would say that's the main difference, is that level of public visibility in regards to having a hard time finding work. But otherwise, it's very similar. People get discouraged. They wonder, did I do something wrong? Is it me? Is that why I'm not finding anything? And that chapter really offers the perspective that this isn't a bad thing that's happening. This is the opportunity for a new adventure with God, and He has a plan, and He's going to take care of you.
That's great. Now, what about taking a stand? Does that chapter relate more to the fans or to the performer?
I would say that it could relate equally to both of them. Taking a stand was written to encourage people to take a stand for their faith and what they are comfortable doing. So, for example, for a performer, especially a performer who's Christian, they might not be comfortable with a dance routine that has some very explicit choreography or a song with very suggestive lyrics. And for them, it's important to encourage them so that they feel comfortable expressing that discomfort and making changes in what they're doing so that they are able to feel comfortable with what they're performing.
Right, and meeting their own personal values.
Right. And then for fans, it might be perhaps your boss at work is asking you to do something that's unethical, or someone in your family is asking you to lie or deceive for, the sake of protecting your family's reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's encouragement for the fans as well as the performers as to how you can take a stand in that respect.
Wow. Very good. You seem rather young to have done such a deep book. So can you give us an example of how to use prayers for Oppa?
Absolutely. Well, I had an incident last night, actually. That's a perfect example. I have a Prayers for Oppa account on Twitter that I use. And one of the performers that I follow, he tweeted that he was in the hospital because he had hurt himself while he was working out at the gym. So very disappointing and, definitely a matter of concern. So I tweeted him and said, I'm so sorry you're in the hospital. I'm praying for a complete recovery for you. And I went to the healing chapter in Prayers for Oppa, picked out a Bible verse, and then sent him that Bible verse as well. And then I also tweeted to my followers, I'm praying the healing prayer for this person. It's on page 53 if you'd like to join me. So not only praying and encouraging him and letting him know that he had that support, but also encouraging other people to join in as well.
That's great. So that then you have more of a feeling of community.
Mm-hmm.
Because other people are praying with you at the same time.
And it also, I believe that prayer gives people more of a sense of security and control, because you find out your favorite performers in the hospital. Most fans are like, oh my goodness, what happened? What can I do? How can I help? It's like, well, you can't heal him, but God can, and you can ask God to take care of him and to make sure that he has a complete recovery.
And did you read the whole Bible before you wrote this book? Or most of it?
I've read the whole Bible previously,
Mm-hmm. And
but before I wrote the book.
Do you have more, would you say, a Christian view or?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. It's great the way that you came up with the passages and the examples of prayers. Do you have any favorites? Anything that you turn back to time and again?
Well, the chapters that I use the most are definitely good health, healing, and fatigue, because those seem to be the biggest problems these performers face. But I would say that my favorite chapter would have to be physical appearance. With the Christian faith, Christians believe that God is sovereign and that, everything that happens is part of his plan. Nothing happens without his knowledge. Nothing is random. But I don't see many people applying that concept of God's sovereignty to their physical appearance and saying, well, God created me to look a certain way. He has his reasons for making me look the way he has. And therefore, my physical appearance is something to celebrate, something to take care of because it's a gift from God and I'm made in his image. Instead, a lot of people, with all the pressure from society and different cultural standards, more and more people seem to feel that they don't measure up and that they need to change their appearance. They need to lose weight. They need to dress differently. They need to look differently.
Dye their hair.
Right. And in some cases, plastic surgery, that's becoming more and more prevalent. So the physical appearance chapter for performers and fans alike is about acknowledging that God made us look the way he did for a reason, and we can embrace that, take care of it, be creative with it, and not beat ourselves up or feel bad about not looking a certain way.
Right, or having to alter our appearance to please an audience.
Right.
That's great.
Thank you.
I am really impressed with the insight that you put into this book. It's amazing because you are very young. So what's the prayer challenge in this book for the readers and the fans?
Well, the Prayers for Oppa prayer challenge is designed to be used with the book and with social media. And the challenge...
So there's 160 characters or less?
It's amazing. I didn't intend it this way, so this is totally a God thing. But a lot of the verses in this book fit on Twitter, no problem. They're 140 characters or less.
Wow, that's great.
It's been very handy. And that was part of what inspired me to do the prayer challenge, is that, wow, you really can send a Bible verse that makes sense through Twitter and other social media. So the prayer challenge is for 1 month, and you choose a performer to pray for and one of the 4 templates on my website. And these templates focus on emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and professional well-being. And each template has a different topic for the week. And during the course of the week, you pray for the performer about that topic, send them an encouraging message about the topic, and send them a related Bible verse. And it's just a very simple way to get started with praying for performers on a regular basis, and also to really send something encouraging and godly and supportive through a medium that really does send a lot of negativity and criticism towards these performers.
Absolutely. Where can people purchase your book? Because it's put out by Westboro Press.
Right. Well, Prayers for Oppa is available in 3 formats. It's available in print, ebook format, and also an audio version, which I narrated myself.
Oh, great.
And signed print copies can be ordered through my website, teresasantosky.com, and unsigned print copies, as well as the ebook, can be purchased through retailers like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and then the audio version is available through a provider called Gumroad, and there's a link on my website to help people locate the audio version.
Great, and they can keep up with all of the exciting things you're doing.
Yes.
You're amazing. So how did you first, what was one of the books that really inspired you growing up? What got you into the literacy world of journalism, and must have been hard.
See, that's such a tough question because there's so many books over the years that have really inspired my love for reading and writing. But if we look at the gateway to all of this, it would probably have to be Douglas Adams, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and the other 4 books in the trilogy.
Oh, that's great. So he is a very good author. What did you like about the books?
I loved the dry sense of humor and the fact that he was dealing with topics that other authors weren't necessarily focusing on. Like you had mentioned that having the insight for my book at a young age, I've always been an old soul, and I've always kind of gone through things before other people do. So in middle school, all of my friends were into Stephen King and horror stories, and I went through that in elementary school. So I found Douglas Adams and science fiction, and not just science fiction, but science fiction with a sense of humor to it. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. You know, you can write like this, you know, this is an option.
It's not all Star Wars.
Right. It was very eye-opening and very inspiring.
That's fantastic. Is there any last words you'd like to leave our audience with, or maybe a specific passage that's good for everybody?
Absolutely. Well, the foundational Bible verse for prayers for Oppa is Ephesians 6:18. Pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. So when it comes to prayer, there's no request too big and there's no request too small. God can take care of everything and anything, and He loves it when we come to Him and we ask for His help and His provision in prayer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your interview today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
My pleasure. And until next time, keep asking questions. You'll never know how alike you are more than you're different. See you soon.